signage shop here in Nanaimo, and we're going to talk about the upcoming election. You are running for city councillor. Yeah.
I certainly am. Second time around.
Second time around, yes. It was the by-election that you ran in
Correct.
the first time, so this is your second time.
Yes.
So why city council? Why?
Well, you know, a lot of people ask that question, and you know, when we have our lower order needs dealt with, we've got food, we've got shelter, we always have other interests. So, for example, why does somebody get involved in union activism? Why does a person get involved with Little League Baseball, and so on and so forth? It all depends where your area of interests are. And mine happen to be in the community. So I want to do what I can do to help and hopefully put a team together that'll move this city forward.
Yes, yes. So tell us a little bit about the person behind Bill McKay. Because you are well known in this city, so a little bit about your Nanaimo story and your person.
Well, I'll tell you. I was born and raised in North Vancouver, and our family bought property on Protection Island in 1970. My first summer job was running the Lee Shore Resort ferry over to Protection Island, if you can imagine. I was 14 years old. It was the year that they landed on the moon.
Oh.
So we've had a long history with Nanaimo. I moved here in 2004 to take on the role as operations manager for the Harbour Links high-speed passenger ferry.
Oh.
And I never left. Sold my property in Vancouver and stayed here ever since.
Good, nice. So what's your visions and platforms for the direction of Nanaimo? What do you see, where do you want to see Nanaimo?
I want to see Nanaimo become a prosperous city. I believe in this community. And when I say prosperous, I don't mean just big business. I mean everyone. We need to attract more than entry-level jobs.
Yes.
We need to retain the students that come out of our university, and it's going to take a lot of work to get there. We have to, however, we have to create excitement. We have to create a buzz. In 2004, when I came to Nanaimo, it was interesting watching the excitement there was downtown. And when we let the Harbour Links ferry slip through our fingers, I believe we lost the biggest economic generator this community has seen in decades.
So you're for a fast ferry then?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
As a matter of fact, I can show you the plans. I've been working on it since 2005. And I actually have vessels designed. I have right down to the seats and the engines and you name it.
And will these vessels be made in Canada or rather than Germany?
Well, it won't be made in Germany, but the challenge with these is that high-speed ferries are a very complicated animal, and you have to go to, it would be like saying, did you want to create an airline where all the airplanes were built in Canada?
I
you
see.
know, the experts are in places like Boeing, for example. They're the experts. My preference is a relatively local yard in Bellingham, Washington.
Okay.
Because of the type of technology. And the beauty of them is they won't have the proprietary challenges that we had with the Harbour Links, where you had to buy every nut, screw, and bolt from some supplier in Europe at a very extremely inflated price.
Yes.
If you can't buy it at Home Depot or a local Caterpillar dealer, we don't want it.
Good. Taxpayers want to hear that because we're paying for it. So
Correct.
Good. Okay, well let's talk about the issues.
Okay.
Supportive housing, we know that's an issue.
Yes. And I can't understand why it should be.
Yes.
I have not, in all the time that I've been watching that issue, I remember a very articulate young lady by the name of Gwen Boyd got up in front of the City Council on October 10th, 2010. And it doesn't seem as though we've moved very far from that discussion that was opened at that point. Yes, there's been some give and take. They've reduced the number of units in the Dufferin area. They have put on hold the unit on Bowen Road, and now we've introduced this one on Uplands. I've not met anybody who's not in favor of social housing.
Right.
Nobody.
Yes.
What they are troubled with is this notion that you take provincial money and you simply plunk it down into available land. As John Horn said, the choice up in the northern area was simply limited inventory. We'll go out and buy some appropriate inventory. Maybe do a land swap. That's the only challenge people have, is the sightings.
So where do you suggest that we put? What site should we use for the housing?
Well, I haven't explored it, and there's no sense exploring where to go until such time as you're tasked to do that.
Right, okay.
There may be property that comes available because you're out asking the question.
Okay.
What I do know is that some of the sites that have currently been chosen are absolutely inappropriate. And all the community wants is to say, stop this, let's have a discussion.
Mhm.
The province is committed that the money's not going anywhere.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
get on with this project and move on.
So why is the city, the current council, really pushing to have it done now then?
Well, it appears as though they seem to have this idea that they may be caving to public pressure.
Oh, okay.
It's funny because a couple of weeks back we watched Vision Nanaimo rally. There were two people there, the mayor of Whistler, and his focus was all about inclusion. They,
Yes.
when they talked to their community, they turned over rocks to try and find people.
Yeah.
They went to the naysayers and they said, come to the meeting tonight because we want to talk about this. Then Mike Harcourt got up at the meeting and addressed one of our current councillors, and he said, pay no attention to those people, they're nothing but noise. They're not noise, they're the people that live here and work here and play here and die here. They're not noise. Pay attention to their interests as well.
True. And you know, it's funny because it was on Shaw TV, the supportive housing, and they had the concerned citizens of Nanaimo.
Yes.
And I did watch it. I was in the studio. And the only, as an outsider looking in and seeing that, the people they had for the concerned citizens of Nanaimo were these people, and they had a photoshopped picture of a nice family with a drug addict. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, you know, it just wasn't presented. The way you're presenting it, and I hear it, but the way I saw it on the concerned citizens of Nanaimo, I was like, oh goodness, these people, like, not in my backyard. You know what I mean?
Well, however, if we look at the symbolism of that picture, I know they've been a lot of accusations about that
They
Photoshop
admitted
picture.
that it was photoshopped.
And you know what? Think about the symbolism involved there. There's the community, the original picture, and there's what somebody is forcing upon them. They're superimposing. And that's what people are suggesting here. Stop ramming this down our throats. Why don't we have a conversation and get it right? The units that are down in Victoria and some of the other communities are a very different program than what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is no holds barred, please come in, we'll give you a warm back place. The difference between those is down there. Kool-Aid, for example, in their very successful projects, they say, you must be abstinent when you move in. You must have current supports. You must have a plan for the future. They're not saying that here. They're saying, come on in with all your challenges. If that item alone, that ingredient of this alone causes challenges to the project, then we need to make sure we absolutely appropriately cite it to face those challenges.
True.
Warmlands in Duncan, there were over 150 police calls in a year. Having said that, if that's the type of project we're building, then let's make sure that we cite it appropriately.
True. And it is by a senior's home as well.
Well, and the interesting thing about the seniors home is that project there, they're now starting to, those people are now starting to speak up. There was a letter in today's paper that the president of the company is finally broken his silence. That's a $70 million investment.
Yes.
There are 375 tenants, and like it or not, perception or reality, their reality is that prior to the announcement of Uplands, they were getting 11.5 inquiries a week for new tenants looking to the possibility of moving in there. Since the announcement, they've had none. And they have people threatening to move out. We have to concern ourselves with that. That's probably a $10 million a year payroll. There's 250 employees there. And what happens if we plunk something right next door to them that causes the failure of their business? Something they've invested $70 million in.
Oh, Bill, you're trying to change my mind here.